So I'll be talking about the Rathcroghan project. Next slide, please, Patrick. So we're based in the Rathcroghan archaeological complex near Tulsk in County Roscommon, and it's one of the royal sites of Ireland. It's the royal site of Connacht. And it's a small enough area. It's about 6 square kilometres, but it's incredibly archaeologically dense. It has over 240 archaeological sites, and about a quarter of those 60 sites are national monuments under state ownership. So as you might see from the picture, all of the monuments are based or located in actively farmed grassland pastures and mostly grazed by beef. So in the project, we're covering about 30 farmers, which is about half of the project area. And we have 103 archaeological sites and 28 national monuments. Next slide, please. So here's just an overview of the sites of the area. All those red dots are archaeological sites, and you can see the project catchment area with the blue ring around it. So there's a lot in the area altogether. Next slide, please. So as you can imagine, there's quite a few challenges involved in farming in an area like this, where it's so much archaeology. It's basically considered one big monument. So all archaeology in Ireland is legally protected. So it's illegal to damage or remove or interfere with them in any way. And this obviously does affect the farmers on a day-to-day basis. So they can't do anything that involves ground interfering. So that's obviously stuff like planting trees and digging ditches, but also ploughing, reseeding, and even driving fencing poles. And another thing we've noticed throughout the project is that all the farmers aren't necessarily aware of what they have on their farm either. Like they're aware of the big monuments, like the ones you can see in the pictures below, but there's a lot of archaeology that's not visible on the surface. And even though you don't know that it's there, it's still illegal to damage them in any way. So it's important to know what you have. So there's archaeology addressed in some of the current agri-environmental schemes, such as GLOS, but these are only really addressing the removal of unwanted vegetation, and it's not necessarily addressing the major threats to earthwork archaeology, which is the damage to the grass cover of the monuments. Because as soon as you damage the grass, be it livestock or machinery or whatever it is, and you have visible soil, they tend to deteriorate quite quickly. And you're also not accounting for the size of the monuments. Some of the monuments in our area are huge. Like some of the bigger ones could be up to a hectare in size, and that's a lot of monument for a fairly small payment. So next slide, please. So we're working with farmers to develop farm plans for each farm, and with targeted measures to improve, obviously, archaeology on the farm, but also farm ecology and water quality as well. We have a field monument advisor on hand to advise on the protection and care of the monuments, and we're also liaising with the National Monument Service to make sure that the farmers know what's expected of them, and also that all the documentation is in place. Next slide, please. So as part of the project, we're also developing best practice guidelines for the farming of grassland archaeology. So we're trying to make them as simple, as straightforward, and I suppose user-friendly as possible, and also that they're applicable to other areas and not just Rathcroghan. We're also developing project equipment that's to be shared between the farmers in the project for short-term use, and this will be appropriate and approved for archaeological areas and won't interfere with the ground at all. And we are using result-based payments in the project. So what we're doing is that we're adapting already tried and tested result-based payment scorecards from other projects, and we're incorporating archaeological-based scores into them. And I suppose it's a way of showing that you can adapt these to other things that are not just environmental as well. So I suppose to summarize or wrap it up, despite the fact that there's so much archaeology on farmlands in Ireland, we know very little about how to actually best farm them and how to manage them. So I suppose the project is doing our little bit to address that. So thank you.